Hey everybody, this is Bob Rubart from the Oracle Technology Network, and I'm crossing the pond here via Skype to talk to several people at UKOUG Tech 13, Oracle ACE Director Simon Haslam, Oracle ACE Director Ronald van Luttikhuizen, and Peter Lorenzen in the background there. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Oh, we're good, thanks.
Very good, yeah.
So you guys have just wrapped up an Oracle WebLogic Hackathon there. Tell me a little bit about what went on.
So what we did is this session was all about installing WebLogic in an automated fashion. We did two labs. First we did the silent install using the scripts. And then we did an introduction on configuration management and tools that support automated configuration management, Puppet and Chef. And we did an install afterwards, WebLogic again, but then with a Puppet and a Chef. And we had a competition. So that was a nice element. And you promised them a sports car. So we'll have to get a sports car.
I think so. I think so.
I didn't say how big.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Ronald, you had mentioned earlier that while the contestants in the hackathon had their choice of using either Chef or Puppet, that all the contestants chose Puppet. Any insight into why they might have chosen Puppet for this?
We've got one team doing Chef.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, yeah, I think basically the tools, both tool sets offer similar functionality. With what we were doing earlier, we kind of led into Puppet a bit more naturally, I suppose, and the labs were certainly much more well organized for the Puppet ones. But there's one of the teams that's been using Chef because we started off earlier on the day with the 64-bit VM, etc. So at the end of the day, every team has actually automatically provisioned WebLogic and the JDK with either Puppet or Chef. So everybody's managed to get to the end of it in one piece.
Yeah, and I don't think that they weren't seeing that many differences between the two. So both do the job.
About how many contestants did you have for the hackathon?
Oh,
16?
16, or there was 16 or 18 or so.
Yeah, close to 20. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, and what was the general reaction? I know I saw some still photographs that you sent, and it looked like people were hard at work, heads down.
Yeah, I think so. And people were working together, weren't they?
Yeah.
You got the impression that there was a lot of interaction going on, because that's the whole point with these kind of sessions. I mean, you know, we can all go to conferences where there's PowerPoint slide decks and, you know, you can sit there and watch them. But the point is it's relatively rare to get this many middleware specialists in a room at once. So we've all got a lot in common. And so actually, you know, I've had a lot of fun. It's kind of a meeting of minds, really, and it gives us an opportunity to sit and play with some stuff that we wouldn't necessarily have done so far.
And it was a real...
There was a lot of talk that didn't involve Puppet.
Yeah, definitely.
That about just in general about Fusion middleware.
Yeah, and SOA and WebLogic and what have you.
And it was a real hackathon because we had a switch that was broken, so we didn't have any network connectivity.
Yeah, we built our data center at 10 o'clock this morning with 24 ports, only to find that the network switch didn't actually work. So the single point of failure became a bit of a problem.
Yeah, making like a weird noise to switch, but otherwise everything.
But we got it going.
Perfect.
Yeah, we had an incident. We had our priority one incident, and we fixed it just about in time.
Well, so aside from those kind of expected technical glitches, were there any surprises for you as far as what came out of the hackathon?
I think people have been pretty positive.
Yeah, it was more or less went exactly the way that was put into the lab. So that was a bit surprising. We thought maybe that people would spend like the entire 2 hours just getting the network connectivity going and stuff like that. But actually, everybody installed WebLogic in the end. So yeah, it was.
And it's not just. I mean, it's doing the domain as well, and it wasn't trivial. I mean, it's still. Yeah. If you think that the manual lab we did this earlier on today, we spent an hour or so doing that by hand, and actually, by the time we were running Puppet and Chef, those steps were taking what, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
So, you know, we effectively proved today, this afternoon, the benefit of the automation just very clearly that it, you know, it was so quick.
And it was good that we had teams of 3 working together on the labs. So that's better, I think, than if you have individuals doing the lab. because now you see people helping each other, and you only win as a team, right? So you have to help each other in order to win. So I think that was a good way to organize.
And the other thing is having the machines meant that things like networking, which is a real world thing you have to tackle anyway, you had to do anyway. Whereas obviously if we had a lab that was entirely standalone on a single, say, a virtual machine that somebody just slaps onto their PC, then it's not necessarily representative of what they're going to have to do back at the office anyway. So,
but it was hard on the one doing the keying.
Yeah.
So yeah, you had like a lot of backseat people saying, "Oh, go do that, do that."
All these backseat drivers.
It's always the same, right?
Yeah, it was a bit.
Well, so speaking of collaboration, I know that Ronald, you and Simon and fellow Oracle ACE director Lannika Diekmans are involved in a new project that ties in with what this hackathon was all about. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about that. We've got a new venture that we've launched called OBox, and what we're doing is we're looking to provision SOA Suite in a box. So it's kind of very simple in concept. What we're doing is it's all based on the Oracle Database Appliance, which people might know is a kind of database in a box. But since earlier on this year, you've been able to run virtual machines on it. So there's the ODA virtualized platform. And all of a sudden, for us kind of middleware guys, suddenly you start to think, oh, this kind of sounds interesting. So SOA Suite is typically a load of middleware horsepower plus a database. And you start thinking, well, actually, maybe we can put the whole thing together and make it very easy to provision. Yeah. And that's kind of our ethos. So what we're aiming to get to is we'll have an Oracle Database Appliance. The customer will get the thing, put our software on it, boot the thing up, and then within a couple of hours or so, they'll be logging into SOA Infra. Yeah. That's our goal.
Yeah, it's totally different from projects that we've seen where it takes weeks, months, even sometimes more than a year to just have it installed. And it's not so much the product, but it's more the way that organizations work. And you have to get a solution architecture, and you have to talk to a lot of different people. Now it's just there in a box. It's according to the Enterprise Deployment Guide set up by Oracle. So it's entirely set up according to specifications in the EDG. And so you don't have to discuss or argue about how to configure it. You just plug it in and it works.
So it sounds like it's architecture in a box.
Yeah, I mean, it's a relatively small, on the general scheme of things, the ODA is a sort of small to mid-sized type appliance, so we're not going to be competing with the Exalogics of the world. You know, people are going to have big organizations will still need Exalogic, but what we're looking at are those organizations that are perhaps new to SOA. Maybe they've got a big database estate and they've got lots of traditional Oracle products, and they're starting moving to a SOA environment, and they don't really have the time to worry about making a kind of HA SOA platform to start with.
And to hire the consultants to do the architecture and
So it's it's going to be a certain kind of environment that'll benefit the most, because I suppose the thing with SOA is there's an awful lot to learn. I mean, it's a big transformation thing. So if it's your first SOA project, then you just want to be up with it, as quickly as you can, really. Yeah. So that's what we're aiming to do. Yeah.
All right. Well, gentlemen, congratulations on what looks like it was a very successful WebLogic Hackathon, and enjoy the rest of your stay in Manchester for UKOUG Tech 13.
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
All right. Take care.